As a parent, what you always look for is change. And I know that sounds so basic, but we know our kids. So pay attention to any change that you notice in their behavior, and that could be anything. But when it comes to a mood disorder, I'm going to give you some specifics. One is noticing persistent sadness or irritability. Now, what we tend to notice in the behavioral health community as doctors and clinicians is that children tend to exhibit depression as more irritability and anger and potentially acting out with behavioral problems, as opposed to an adult that can verbalize what they're feeling and say, yeah, I'm just really sad, I'm really down. Or maybe I can say that. It's harder for a child to understand their emotions, so they tend to act out their feelings in a way that exhibits as irritable behavior and acting out type behavior. So pay attention to any behavioral changes. Another very important thing to think about, or a few more things to think about that are very important, are changes in sleep patterns. Always pay attention to sleep patterns because sometimes they're the first clue when a mental health crisis is coming, especially in the affective disorders, the mood disorders like anxiety and depression and bipolar. So pay attention to your child's sleep habits. Are they sleeping more? Are they sleeping less? Is there any change? And just tick that off on a box to pay attention to. What about changes in appetite or weight? You might notice that your child is eating more or eating less. Maybe they're gaining weight or losing weight. Maybe they're losing interest in food. Now, these are those basics in life, sleep and appetite, that do change and they follow the pattern of mood disorders. So pay attention to that, something easy to pay attention to. Do you notice that your child has less energy? Do you notice that they have less concentration? These are signs as well. And then of course, when it comes to mood disorders, are they acting or verbalizing anything about worthlessness or guilt? Anything along those lines of hopelessness or helplessness?
I am sick of suffering in silence. Today, I will stomp and scream and shout until every word inside of me is out.
And then what we've talked about before with mental health in children is a lot of children will manifest their behavioral health issues as somatic complaints, as physical complaints. So pay attention if suddenly your child is saying, oh, I have a stomach ache, I have a headache, I'm nauseous all the time. These can absolutely be medical problems and should be looked into. But sometimes emotional disturbances will manifest in children as somatic disturbances, meaning bodily sensations. So pay attention to that as well. And then of course, anything with regard to suicidality or self-injury.
Show me.
What?
Show me.
Mom?
You burn yourself?
Mom.
Really, really important to acknowledge and address. Now, you're paying attention to these things as a parent, but I always say keep an open line of communication with your kids from the beginning and let them know that it's okay to speak to you about anything without fear of criticism and judgment. And this way you can have an open conversation and you can get the help that you need.